Here are tips for every rank in Critical Ops Iron to Bronze. If you're in these ranks, you're probably a casual or maybe you're new to COps. The basics that you should be focusing on is movement and crosshair placement. Playing at the lower ranks means you can easily carry your games if you master these basic mechanics. Silver to gold is what the majority of the COps players are. But what can you do to stand out from the majority of the player base? You need to recognize basic patterns of the game. For example, if someone's running heaven every time on raid, if you can recognize this pattern, you can get a free kill by literally just wall banging heaven to get better on how to counter a certain pattern, execute, or play. You can watch how pros play in certain situations. When you start watching pros, I suggest you have a notebook and take notes of their plays and reactions and apply them to your own game. When you start doing this, you'll notice you'll always be a step ahead of your opponents and may even be able to direct your teammates to help them in situations that could lead to an easy win. Once you continue to learn the basics of the game and get to around Plat Diamond, you'll understand that it's now a basic process of just refining the basic fundamentals of the game. But some of you may hit a wall around this rank, and a lot of people fluctuate around these ranks. So how can you change the way you play the game? Let's start by identifying the type of players. Usually at this rank, the first kind of player is someone who has overly reliant on their aim and they have zero game sense. The second type of player is someone who has overly reliant on their utility because they watch too much lineup videos and have no idea on how to actually use the utility that they've learned. Lastly, you have the type of player that is both of these things in between. These players are well-rounded but don't have a strong suit and sometimes can lose you a game. Or if you're playing against them, they'll probably drop 30 kills. And you know what I'm talking about, because we've all been there now. You're probably wondering why I brought up these types of players. It's because you're one of these and you need to be able to identify which one you are. If you can't criticize yourself, then you won't be able to improve. There's a big problem in Critical Ops where everyone has an ego for absolutely no reason. And they think they're this perfect player, and they think they only lose because of their teammates. The played with these egos will never improve, and they'll probably stay at this rank for their whole career because they can't find their own weaknesses. If you can find your own weaknesses, you'll be able to be ahead of these players. But talking about egos gets me into my next topic. Since you have the basic mechanics down, you need to work on something that don't even in Critical Ops. What am I talking about? Talking about your attitude in order to play Critical Ops at the top level. You need to be able to have a positive mindset and not be toxic. Yes, you're allowed to get upset, and yes, you can be mad, but that shouldn't lead you to rage at your own teammates. You need to be able to move on. My best advice for you, if you have this problem, is to think about each round as a chapter in a book. Once a chapter is over, you turn the page and read another page. So once the round is over, you need to start to focus on the current round instead of the last. Forget all the mistakes and move on. Once you've hit Master Elite Ops, congratulations, you're the top 1% of the player base. Many players are satisfied with stopping their climb here. But the last tip I have is for the players that want to reach the top and try to reach a professional level in order to keep improving. You need to keep fine-tuning the mistakes you're making by VOD reviewing yourself. You can do this by simply recording yourself to fine-tune yourself even more. You should be grinding aimbots in training or deathmatch to improve your crosshair placement and time to kill and focusing on the fundamentals. Getting to this point in Critical Ops really becomes a grind, and a lot of players don't want to do the dirty work, such as watching VODs and working on the very basic mechanics. So if you have the work ethic, you can definitely reach the top because hard work always beats talent. But just remember to enjoy the journey of the grind, and you'll always find a lot more enjoyment in trying to reach the top.